The question is a hexagonal pyramid of base edge 50 mm and altitude 90 mm rests on one of its base edges on the HP, with its axis inclined at 30 degree to the HP and parallel to VP. Draw its plan and elevation. Now consider the three-dimensional geometrical representation of the question. So here we are representing vertical plane and horizontal plane here, and let us assume the first position of the hexagonal pyramid like this. Now we can name the bottom corners of the hexagonal pyramid as A, B, C, D, E and F. So for getting the front view, we are going to observe the hexagonal pyramid from the front side. So for that, consider all the base corners, and now we are going to project these base corners into the vertical plane. So project all the base corners, then project the vertex into the vertical plane. Now join all these points, and this straight line represents the axis of the hexagonal pyramid. Join all the corners, will get one triangle in the vertical plane, and this triangle represents the front view. And for getting the top view, now we are going to observe this object, this hexagonal pyramid from the top side. Now we'll get the bottom corners like this, then join all these bottom corners, mark the vertex of the pyramid, then join all these edges. Now we'll get the top view like this. So this one represents one hexagon. Now this is the front and top views corresponding to stage 1. Then in stage 2, the pentagonal pyramid is going to tilt about its one of the base edges. Now earlier I mentioned this is the edge, base edge AB. Now we are going to tilt this hexagonal pyramid along this AB such that this base plane makes an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal plane. So this is the condition. Now this bottom face makes an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal plane. Now it is resting on one of the base edges AB. Again, similarly, for getting the front view, we have to observe the object from the front side, this side. Then we have to project all these base corners into the vertical plane, vertex into the vertical plane, then join all these points, we'll get one triangle, and that will be the front view of the hexagonal pyramid. Similarly, for getting the top view, we are going to observe the hexagonal pyramid from the top side. Now we have to project all the base corners into the horizontal plane and also the vertex into the horizontal plane. Now join all the corners. Now for representing the edges, when we are looking from top side, this outer edges will be visible, and now we can join that edges by means of thick lines. And again, when we are observing from top side, these edges are not visible. Some of the edges which is coming under this area will not be visible, and that can be denoted by dotted lines. So these are the dotted lines. This dotted line means we cannot see the edges from the top side. Again, join all that corners and the vertex. Now these dotted lines represents the edges which are not visible, and these thick lines represents the edges which are visible. Now join all these corners into the vertex. Now we will get the top view of the hexagonal pyramid like this. This one represents the top view. So this is the three-dimensional representation of the question. Now we have to mark this three-dimensional geometry into a 2D plane. So for that, consider the intersection of the vertical plane and horizontal plane as XY line. This one is the XY line, and the area above the XY plane will be HP, and the area above the XY line will be VP, and the area below the XY line will be horizontal plane. Now first of all, we have to consider the hexagonal pyramid in the initial stage 1. So for that we have given that the length of the edge is 50. Now taking the dimension, complete this hexagon, mark these points A, B. This is the edge which along which we are going to rotate the hexagonal pyramid. And similarly this one will be point E, and this center point will be the vertex, representation of vertex, and the center point of the base. So this one represents the top view corresponding to stage 1. Now in order to get the front view, we have to project all these corners into the XY line and draw that dotted lines perpendicular to XY line. Then it is given that the height of the hexagonal prism is 90 mm. Then take the dimension 90 and draw a line from the XY line at a distance of 90. Then mark the vertex, can be represented as O dash. Then corresponding to this front corner, we can mark E dash, and corresponding to this corner we can mark A dash. Then join all these corners, and this triangle represents the front view of the hexagonal pyramid. Now in second stage we have to rotate, as I explained earlier, we have to rotate the hexagonal pyramid with respect to one of the base edge. Here we have marked as AB. This is the area AB. So in order to rotate this hexagonal pyramid with respect to the edge AB at an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal plane, and in that case the axis will be parallel to vertical plane. This is the condition. So first of all we have to draw the front view, and for that take this angle 30 degree with the XY line, and mark this measure this distance A dash E dash, then mark at an angle 30 degree perpendicular to this 30 degree line. So here this A dash E dash can be represented along this line. Then measure the distance A dash O dash E dash O dash, then transfer that dimension here. Now complete the triangle, and this one represents the front view of the tilted hexagonal pyramid at an angle 30 degree to the horizontal plane and axis parallel to VP. Now in order to get the front view corresponding to the final stage, you have to project all that base corners and the vertex into the XY line. Then draw the projections perpendicular to this XY line, and similarly in order to get the corresponding base corners, we have to extend that top view of the initial stage in the rightward direction. Now these two projection lines will meet at the corresponding points. We can mark the corresponding points. That means this one will be A1, that is a joining line of A and A dash. Similarly the joining line of B and B dash will be B dash. Then E and E dash will be E1. Now join all these corners. Again we will get the vertex here. For that join O and O dash, and it will be O1. Now join all that base corners, then again join base corners to the vertex. Now again here the invisible edges can be represented by dotted lines. This will be under the top area. Now the visible edges can be represented in thick lines. All these are thick lines, because when we are observing from top sides these edges are visible. So this is the top view of the tilted condition.